for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that great big subscribe button right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live right now, post a new video. Now, I recently got asked through my Asexualise with an S.com website, although I own the Asexualise with a Z.com website too, how I knew that I was asexual. Me personally, not in general, but me specifically. How did I personally know that I'm asexual? So, if you don't already know the list of reasons why I knew I was asexual and am asexual, please stay tuned for that. First of all, if you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy. I wrote this awesome Asexual Perspectives book in 2017. It still sells today because literally this is the most comprehensive guide you can find when you're beginning to asexuality in terms of what other people think across all the asexual spectrum and across the globe on love, life and sex. When I say all across the asexual spectrum, not every subcategory of asexual is in the book, but you know, it's basically from sex repulsed, aromantic asexuals all the way through to sex positive, demisexual asexuals. So you know, it's a really good book. And what's great about this is it just doesn't just give you textbook definitions of asexuality and different categories within it. It actually shows you asexuality through the voices and stories. This came out in 2017. Obviously, there's been some other books that since have kind of copied that storytelling idea. But yes, it's a great book still, so please get a copy of that if you're new to asexuality or just want to know more. And also, I wrote a superhero autobiographical book, and in 2019 published this one, Fibromyalgia Self-Help Handbook. This will help you, even if you don't have fibro, to have more energy and less pain like a superhero. So get a copy of that as well. So yes, this was a question I got asked on my asexualise.com site. If you didn't already know, there's a chat bubble there. And believe it or not, I do actually answer quite a lot of questions on a chat bubble. I'm quite active in it. You know, so for people who just want a little bit of extra advice when they come on my blog, you know, I will answer people's questions. And one of the questions that I got asked is how did you know you're asexual? Well, I thought they wanted general advice about how can you tell you're asexual, because that's how the conversation started off, because they wanted to know if they were asexual or not, and that's why they came across my blog. But then they were like, again, no, how do you know that you are asexual? And so if you don't already know the reasons of how I knew I was asexual, if you still find it insightful to learn more, maybe you don't know all the reasons, then please stick with me, because I think some of this may resonate with you, and maybe it's stuff you knew about me, or maybe there's some stuff in there you might not if you tune in and out of my channel. So first of all, 2013, go back to 2013, there was this really very good looking Bangladesh guy. If you know me, you'll know I like younger foreign guys. I'm just more attracted to younger guys. Always have been, always will be, since I was with my last long-term ex. My last long-term ex was 2011, we split up. He was British, not foreign. He was 3.5 years younger than me, but before him I actually was I was in relationships with younger foreign guys. A guy from Afghanistan, which might surprise you, a Latino guy, the different times obviously, and someone who was Middle Eastern as well. They were actually in quite fair. I didn't stay with them long. They were in fairly quick succession. They just didn't work out. One of them was really bad to me sexually. So that wasn't good. But it didn't stop me being in my last long-term relationship, which was with the British guy. But the British guy knew I was always attracted to foreign guys, and he used to get quite angry about it. But it's like I liked foreign guys before I liked him. So it was, you know, he wasn't, you know, the last guy I was in a relationship with for 8.5 years in total. Like a lot of the time he's very abusive, but not sexually. But you know, he used to obviously, like I said, have a go at me about liking young foreign guys, because he, you know, I guess he was jealous of that and didn't like it. But you know, but I would never act on that when I was in a relationship with him. You know, it was him that's quite the deceiving type of person. I was always very loyal, you know, and I wasn't going on about foreign guys. It's just that if I saw one, he's like, oh, you looked, you know, and stuff like that. But he was the type of guy that was in toilets with women in his workplace with a female in a toilet, putting his arm around her and stuff. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's over and done with. That was the last time I had sex, by the way, in 2011. So in 2013 was when I actually got into a relationship with a Bangladesh guy. I have to say that the guy I was in a relationship with for 8.5 years, my last long-term ex, he was British, very British. He was actually not very good. He was very racist, if you must know, and very homophobic, which I'm not at all. I'm the opposite to that. So that wasn't good about him either. And yeah, so there was quite a few things that weren't good. I'm not saying everything. I mean, overall, the relationship was bad because it's abusive, but you know, there's certain things we liked going out together in the same sort of places, like kissing a lot and stuff like that. So, you know, we had that in common. Anyway, so, you know, he was 3.5 years younger than me, but he looked about 10 years younger than he was, or even less. So I got used to then, and he was very, very skinny. So with that relationship, I got used to being with a skinny guy who actually looked much younger for his age. He looked like, even when he was like in his early 30s, he still looked like he was in his early 20s. So yeah, it was very interesting. So anyway, in 2013, I dated, well, I wasn't dating, I was in a relationship with this Bangladesh guy who was 23. And we weren't together very long. We're only in a 3-week relationship, if you want to call it a relationship. But I was serious about him, but it was serious in the sense that he was asking me for sex. And I just couldn't do it. I just really couldn't do it. He's very hot looking, don't get me wrong, like aesthetically with his face. I was so attracted to him, like short dark hair, clean shaven, the look I like. I really, really like kissing him, and you know, and he was aesthetically really good looking, but I just couldn't bring myself to have sex with him. Going back to the guy, actually British guy for 8.5 years I was with, I wasn't actually that attracted to him when I first met him. We were friends for 8 months first. And so like with the British guy, I wasn't instant attraction with him at all. He wasn't really good looking that much for me when I first got to know him. He wasn't really my type. He wasn't really the look that I'd go for. But as I got to know him and got an emotional bond with him, then I became more and more attracted to him. So it seems to me like even these days, like if I was attracted or am going to be attracted to a British guy, I need an emotional bond first of some sort to be able to be attracted to a British guy usually. Whereas with a foreign guy, I can just have instant attraction to him. Depends on his look. But if he's got short dark hair, clean shaven, Indian predominantly, doesn't have to be. But like I said, you know, this guy in 2013 was Bangladesh, you know, so short dark hair, clean shaven. That's kind of the type of look I go for, and the attraction's usually all in the face for me. Thanks for the thumbs up, lots of love. So yeah, so anyway, in 2013 I was with this Bangladesh guy. I just couldn't bring myself to have sex. He was asking me, and I was like, I just can't do it. I just couldn't. Every part of my, you know, even though I get aroused, right, very personal, I know, but even though I get aroused, it doesn't lead to sex for me. That's one way that I know I'm definitely asexual, because it just stops there. The arousal just stops as feelings in the genitalia. It doesn't have any implications of having sex with someone, which would be in my case guys, because I'm attracted to guys. You know, there's no connection there. There's no, oh, I'm having feelings in my genitalia and now I want to have sex with you. That's not what it's like for me. What it's like is, this is a feeling, this is a bit, sometimes it's annoying, because it's like, if I'm on my own, it's like I've got other things to be doing right now. I don't want to be like having issues going on down there. If it's like I'm kissing a guy, then, you know, I kind of like want to release that naturally without any sex. That's how I'm putting it, as kind of like subtly as a brick that I can do as usual. And so, you know, like it's not connected to that. I mean, even when I'm kissing, you know, guys keep saying to me, like, you know, like sexual guys, obviously heterosexual guys keep saying, oh, so when you kiss, like, how do you resist the urge, you know, to have sex? And it's like, I don't have an urge to have sex when I kiss. It doesn't lead to that. It's not connected for me at all. And so that's another reason why I know I'm asexual. My physicality, my genitalia, it doesn't lead to me wanting to have sex at all. Even though I adore kissing so much, it doesn't make me want to have sex. I just want the kissing. It's like, you don't have to be the guy could be completely impotent down below, and I'd be quite happy with that. I'd be very happy with that, actually. It'd be great, because I am not interested in that, to not have to worry about that would be bliss for me. There must be some guys somewhere who are impotent, who just like really, would love a relationship without sex because they can't have sex, but obviously their mindset is very different. Someone who's impotent but not asexual, they still get the urge, need, and want for sex, and it can get very frustrating for them. And that's another question I get. It's like, how do you deal with the frustration? I don't get sexually frustrated because there isn't a need in me for sex, or a want, or a desire, or urge, or anything like that. I'm a genuine asexual who does not experience sexual attraction. I do personally find it weird that I get aroused. I have to admit that seems a bit bizarre to me, that I have arousal but zero sexual attraction, but it is the way it is. It's the truth. It's what happens to me, and it's like it's completely separate. Obviously when a guy's kissing me, I can get more aroused then, so his actions of kissing me can make me more aroused, but it doesn't make me want to go and have sex with him. It doesn't always now. Like, if I kiss guys in nightclubs, sometimes I don't get aroused at all anymore. I think that's probably because it's public as well. I'm in a public place. So it's kind of like, I'm probably, my body and brain's a bit like, you're in a public place now, it's not the time for that. But also I just don't think I get that anymore with everyone I kiss. Which is a bit weird for me because I used to. But yeah, so that's some of the reasons why I know I'm asexual. But going back to 2013, when I just couldn't have sex with this guy, and he was really hot looking. He's really good looking, but I forced myself to be naked with him in the shower just to please him, and that was really hard for me. And I was like looking away at my own body and trying to just focus on his, and and it's horrible, when you're trying to force yourself to do something like that. That's another way I can tell I'm asexual. If I'm trying to force myself to do something with a guy, which I don't do anymore, by the way. This was 2013. I will not force myself to do something with a guy, sexual or naked wise, that I don't want to do. I have to make that perfectly clear now. I'm not that type of person. I wasn't strong back then. I didn't realize I was asexual to 2014, and this happened in 2013. So I forced myself to do stuff in the shower just to please him. But I just, it felt horrible because I was literally forcing myself. And that's another thing, right? Heterosexuals and sexuals in general, they usually like and enjoy sexual activity and sex and nudity and touching and that, right? Whereas, they don't usually have to force themselves to do something like that if they're aesthetically attracted to the person and comfortable with them, and want to kiss them a lot. The sexual people, kissing usually always leads to sex. It's a prequel to sex. They want something more. If they get aroused, they want sex. And if they're naked in the shower, they're enjoying it. I wasn't enjoying that. I was forcing myself to do it back in 2013. Right? Not now, right? I haven't been naked with a guy for years, even though I've had dates or had short-term relationships. I hasn't wanted to have short-term relationships. That's how it's happened. They've not seen me naked. I think 2013, this guy was the last time anyone saw any guy saw me naked. Because I just don't have it anymore. I don't like nudity, and I don't like a guy seeing my body naked, because it's like, it's my body, not his. Do you know what I mean? I want him to like my face and my hair and my smile and my lips and my personality and my warm heart. Not, I want him to think, yeah, she looks aesthetically nice and pleasing and beautiful and pretty and cute. But I don't want him to think I want to have sex with her. I mean, I know guys want to have sex with me. It's, I get it all the time. And I do accept that. And I don't, I don't go around hating people for that. But what I mean to say is, if I was getting into a relationship, I would want him to like my face and this part of my body, if you like, my head and my personality and heart more than anything. Because that's what I like most in a guy. And I love a guy with clothes on, some clothes on a guy are so sexy. The clothes they wear. it's like a guy looks better with his clothes and looks more sexy, if you want to use the word sexy. If you're an asexual, most asexuals are like, why are you using the word sexy? Because you're asexual. Well, asexy then, sexy but without sexual attraction, asexy, right? But they look so gorgeous with their clothes on. I love, like, if a guy wears like a white t-shirt with a leather jacket, oh my god, a short dark hair, clean shaven foreign guy, I just love that look so much. It's so beautiful, right? And anyway, so this guy, Bangladesh guy, after 3 weeks, he basically I found out he was having an affair with a girl who would have sex with him, and so that's why it ended. And so he didn't treat me very well either, a little bit, because like obviously he didn't treat me well because he had the affair, but also like he was a bit strange. Well, he said like, oh, I'll buy you this gift. Not that I need guys to buy me loads of gifts, but it's like, if they're gonna buy me a gift and they say they're gonna do something, then do it, innit? But this guy said, I'm gonna buy you a gift, and then this nice thing, and then he brought me back a cheap bangle or something that I could have bought myself for like little money. And it's like, he promised something and then gave me something else that was really cheap. And I don't mind inexpensive presents, but what I don't like is when a guy contradicts himself, says he'll do something, then doesn't do the thing he says he'll do. It's not on, right? I don't like it. It's deceitful and dishonest and lying and not holding themselves accountable. I can't be doing with that. So anyway, so that relationship ended. At that point, my parents were kind of laughing why I won't have sex in a relationship, and said I'm just looking for a friend. They're not like that now. I have to admit, my parents are lovely about my asexuality, so don't have a go at them because they're gorgeous. But they really accept my asexuality. They're really good, and they know I like younger foreign guys. They'll not be surprised if I bring a 23 or 24-year-old over to see them one day, that I'm in a relationship with one day, if it ever happens. But I'm quite happy to be single nowadays. But they've already known that for years. But at that time, they didn't know about asexuality. I didn't know I was asexual in 2013. And they were kind of laughing, saying, oh, you just want a friend. And that was really hurtful to me at the time, because I don't kiss my friends. I don't go around sitting on their lap and snogging them like I do a partner. I don't have that physical closeness with friends. I might hug a friend, some friends, but that's about it. Right? I'm not going around snogging my friends. And when I snog, I really snog. Tongue and everything, right? And so I don't do that with my friends. There's a lot of things I do with my friends that I do not, a lot of things that I do with a partner, intimate wise, physical wise, I wouldn't do with friends. Obviously, some of the other stuff I do, like, go out together and stuff, but it's a lot of it's non-contact with my friends. So we're very boundary driven, me and my friends. I love that about us, very loving but boundary driven, loving in a friendship way. So there's no argy-bargy, there's no like, oh, well, do they like me as a friend or do they like me more? There's none of that rubbish, and I love that about them, and so anyway, so that was 2013. So I just couldn't bring myself to have sex anymore. That's when I first realised that, since time had passed, so 2011 was the last time I had sex. It's still the last time I had sex with my last long-term heterosexual ex. In 2012, I dated someone, and one of the things he said is that he wanted sex, and I said I didn't want it. So I knew then I didn't want sex, but I didn't know I was asexual. So it was, even in 2012, I said I didn't want sex, but it wasn't a big deal with the guy because I was just dating him. I wasn't having a relationship. And then the Bangladesh guy happened, and that's when I really knew that I could not have sex, because I found him so good looking, and I really liked snogging him like so much. But that, and even my body like down below was aroused a lot, but it didn't make me want to have sex. And this is how I know I'm definitely asexual. If I wanted to have sex, I would, but I just don't want it. And then 2014 was when I first, when I went to a counsellor, and I was, like so worried because I wanted a relationship, but I didn't know what to do because I didn't want sex, and I just like kissing and holding hands and cuddling, that type of thing. And that's when I went to her. And if you've seen my documentary trailer and this channel, you'll know that, I was devastated because, I'm there telling her that I don't know what to do. I really want a relationship, but I don't want sex. I just like the kissing, basically. And, then she said the worst thing possible to me, which is, you know, that I'd have to have sex if I wanted to keep a good guy. And I was absolutely devastated by that. I mean, so devastated, because, you know, like, that's the worst thing you can say to someone. To me, it was like a license. She was like giving me a license for a guy to rape me. You know, it's like, oh, right, well, if you want to keep a good guy, you've got to have sex. You know, if someone who's having sex against their will, you know, it's rape. Do you know what I mean? It's just disgusting. And basically saying that I've got to have sex in order to keep someone's good, that person's not good if I've got to have sex to keep them. They're not good for me, right? So, you know, I was absolutely horrified. Obviously, that's another way that I knew I know I'm asexual, knew I was asexual, but I didn't know it specifically when I went to see a counsellor. It was at that time, though, of seeing the counsellor, that I went home and Googled "I love kissing but not sex," and then it came up with Asexuality, asexuality.org. I looked at the forums there, and I realised there was people in the forum threads that wanted relationship without sex, and I'm like, oh my god, there are people actually like me. I honestly thought I was the only one in the world, planet, and universe that didn't want sex, didn't like it, didn't need it, didn't have to have it, didn't get an urge for it or want for it. And I'm like, wow, there's just so many people here like me, and I honestly never knew it, and it was just such a good feeling. And then I thought, I just don't think I can see this counsellor anymore. She isn't any good for me. I did express the fact I wasn't happy with her, because she didn't even look it up when I told her I thought I was asexual, when I came back and told her. And then, you know, and then she's like, then she's like, oh, the computers were at work wouldn't let us look up such a thing. And I'm like, well, you have computer at home, you didn't even bother to look, you know. And so she started saying, oh, you know, like I said, I wasn't feeling good anymore coming to see her. So she said about ending seeing her, but I wasn't really sure at that point, because I was like a bit like, oh my god, I've just realised this thing about me and I didn't know, and I don't know if I need help solving it. But then I realised afterwards she was not going to help me with it. You know, and she shouldn't have said what she said. It's really bad conduct, in my opinion, for a professional person to say stuff like that. So anyway, I left there, and I actually saw her once in the city centre after that. She looked at me, and I just looked at her, like, kind of right straight at her, you know, as much to say, you know, what the hell do you think you were doing? You shouldn't have given me that advice, you know. And anyway, so, you know, that was the end of that. And then I spent about 3 weeks as well researching what type of asexual I was, and then that's when I came across a guy on asexuality.com, and he held meets at that time, and he suggested, because I was like, what type of asexual am I? I know I'm only attracted to guys, I'm heteromantic, but what else? Because I noticed there were some people that were taken aback on the site about the fact that some guys, obviously, that were taken aback about the fact that I love kissing so much. And then this guy said, yeah, you're a grey asexual. But when I looked into grey asexuality, it meant that you are attracted to someone, you know, you experience sexual attraction, but only in limited, rare, or specific circumstances, or you experience it but not enough to want to act on it. And I thought at that point, because I didn't realise arousal was a separate thing to sexual attraction, I thought that the arousal thing, which I didn't realise, I wasn't consciously aware it's arousal. I thought, oh, I must have feelings of sexual attraction, but I just don't want to act on it. So that's how he fitted me in that category. But as time went on, and I started seeing sex mentioned in Avon on the asexual forums, and my genitalia started doing stuff, I'm like, oh, seems I get aroused even though I don't want sex. And that's how I found it out. Ironically, I found that out through an asexual, you know, website and forum. And I'm like, oh, this is weird. It's like my body's doing its own thing. And then I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Like, now I realise, looking back, that I've never actually looked at any of my exes and thought, I want sex with you. And so that's again how I knew I was and am asexual, because I never ever thought that about any of my exes or anyone in my life. I've never ever thought to myself, oh, I really want sex with you now. It just hasn't computed in my brain. And another thing is, when my last long-term heterosexual ex tried to instigate sex with me when I was washing up, he used to come behind me and try and touch my breasts and stuff. It's very personal. And I'm like, I wanted to just stay doing the washing up. I wasn't interested in having the sex. I'm like, I just want to stay washing up. I was listening to my headphones at the time. I hate washing up, by the way. It's one of my worst things I can't stand. But I'm like, I'd much rather do that than have sex. That is not a normal attitude and belief and behaviour. A heterosexual person a person who loves sex and sexuals who love sex, they wouldn't act like that. They'd be like, oh God, he's touching me. I really love it. Let's go and have sex. Woohoo! And I wasn't. I'm like, oh my God, this is making me uncomfortable. I really don't want sex right now. I didn't want it at all, really. But I mean, I would do that sometimes. But I was like, I'd rather just stay doing the washing up. I'm not comfortable. Having someone touching your top half as well is not particularly pleasant sometimes, It's just like sometimes I was okay with that in the past and other times I wasn't, and that's a time when I really wasn't. It's like I'm busy doing something else. I don't need you to touch my bits, Now I'm very much like I don't like a guy touching my top bit at all. It doesn't feel good to me. I don't see myself changing on that. I'm okay with the guy putting his hand on the side of it but not on the front of it. It's a bit strange, but that's the way it is. But I can't see myself in a relationship now. I don't know. Maybe not for the foreseeable future. Anyway, I sometimes, I still think about Indian guys, obviously, because I'm attracted to Indian guys. But, I'm just happier being single and calm. And so I can't, unless the right guy happened to show up who was a really good guy for me. It's no go. I'd just rather stay single. But that, like I said, that's another reason I knew I was asexual. And when I was 6 years old, I did have a boyfriend, and and it's just like, I had a boyfriend at 6, and he was trying to do stuff to me that I didn't want to have done to me, and so I wanted the kissing, but I didn't want the sexual stuff he wanted to do, and so I just knew then that I didn't like that. And looking back, that's obviously a sign that I'm asexual and always was. When I look back at school, there was guys I was really attracted to, but I never wanted to have sex with them. I always just used to think and picture in my mind about me holding hands with them and kissing them and walking with them and talking to them. And I'm still like that now. My ideal relationship is lots of talking, lots of kissing, like, bestest ever friendship, talking, kissing, cuddling, particularly holding hands, walking, talking, kissing, that type of thing. I just love that foundation of bestest ever friendship. And I think it gets very depleted and washed out these days, that idea of real pure love and romance and deepest, bestest ever friendship and building a strong, solid, secure foundation together. I think that's lost on a lot of people these days. The amount of guys who would just seem to be on the dating scene, like, the majority obviously heterosexual still, and they just seem just interested in sex and superficial relationships a lot of the time, but majority of them just after sex. And it's just like, what's the point? I don't personally like short-term relationships. I don't personally like casual relationships. I just don't appreciate them personally. For me, I guess I can see why some people like it if they like variety, but I'd rather have a secure, stable, emotionally bonded relationship with one person, romantic relationship. Obviously, I still want to keep my friends, still want to meet them, go out with them, spend time with them. My friends are super important to me. But I've got 3 best friends, one who lives abroad now. But I still, have room for a romantic best friend in my life as well, I don't think you can have enough best friends, but I think you will probably only have a few best friends in your life, real true best friends. But you know what I mean? So, and I know I'm asexual now because I still feel the same way. I'm not interested in sex. If I did have sex, I still wouldn't be going around thinking I really want to have sex with you. I urge for it, I need for it, I want for it. It would be more like that I was doing it as an activity because my partner liked it and I thought it was a fun activity to do for for them or with them, adventure and exploring their body and that type of thing, you know, if I had that mindset again. But I have that mindset in theory that if I was to do that, that's the type of mindset I'd need to adopt. But when it comes to actually thinking about doing that, I don't want to do it. I'm quite repulsed these days for me. But obviously I'm writing the Asexual Guide to Sex book, and I'm so happy and relieved that the chapter that I've been stuck on for the last few weeks, finally, I think I've got the whole concept that I needed to learn, which wasn't originally going to be in the book. I think I've got it now. I think I understand the whole thing as a summary, which is very difficult because I've had to learn a really complex topic that I didn't know that much about. This is about the only topic in the book I didn't really know enough about, and it's been very difficult. I've been having to look at all these different articles, really learn something that, you know, like, you know, that could be a book in its own, which I don't want to make it a book in its own. I had to learn loads of stuff and then, you know, put it in a succinct paragraph in a chapter. It's been really difficult for me. That's really held me back in terms of like progressing with getting on publishing a book. But I've learned so much as a person. It's very vital to my own life as it happens, and a lot of people's. I've kind of like been able to understand a deep concept. It's about attachment styles, if you want to know. I knew vaguely in some stuff, especially my own, but I didn't really know fully understand the concepts of attachment styles, not on the deep level I need to for the book. Because the Asexual Guide to Sex has turned into relationships and sex, but, you know, a guide to sex and all about relationships as well. It's not just about having a guide to sex anymore, because I truly believe that in order to have good sex, if you're going to have it, if you want it, if you like it, if you don't mind it, is actually having a very strong, committed, loving, caring relationship in the first place. I personally believe that, you know, and I want to, you know, for the people that are reading the book, I feel a very social responsibility towards them and to their safety. And I want to make sure that they make an informed choice and decision, and they understand the differences between healthy and unhealthy relationships. No one's perfect, right? People will struggle, you know, but if they've got some issues that they realize through the book, or their partner has, that they can work on together, that's going to be good, right? A relationship is moving all the time. You should be working on it together, and on, obviously, on yourself separately as well. So, you know, so I finally feel I've turned a corner, and I should be able to move ahead a bit more quicker now, because I kind of know the other bits I need to do, and they're more straightforward because it's stuff I already knew. So yeah, attachment styles is a huge thing. It's massive. There's so much information about it, and to condense it down to a few paragraphs, a few pages, as well, should I say, you know, is quite hard, very hard. So anyway, you know, so yeah, I mean, when I know, like, in my own mind, that if you're going to have sex as an asexual person, you really do need to be having, or anyone, you need to be having some positive emotions associated with it to actually feel good and to want it. But obviously, if you're a sex repulsed asexual, and that even the idea of sex makes you feel like, ugh, you just instantly turned off, right? And so therefore, that's a really telltale sign that you know you're asexual, because if you're turned off at the thought of sex, not turned on, then obviously, you know, you're not interested in having it. And if you're turned off and you're not got that need, urge, or want in the first place, then, you know, basically asexual. If you don't have a need, urge, or want for sex, you don't have a desire for it, don't have an interest for it, and you know, it just doesn't do anything for you, then you don't have to have it. What's the point? You know? And is it harder being asexual in a highly sexualized world? Yes, it is. I'm not going to lie to you. It is more harder in terms of if you're looking for a relationship. If you're not looking for a relationship, you might not find it as hard, but a lot of people still find it hard that there's sex in television, magazines, newspapers, and stuff like this. I personally don't watch the news. I purposely don't watch the TV. I purposely keep my mind free of a lot of that stuff, right? So it can be really difficult. And, you know, if you find it harder in society to relate to all this sexual stuff, again, that's a sign that you're asexual. But I know I'm asexual because sexual attraction is a need, urge, or want for partnered sexual intercourse, and I don't have that need at all. That's how I know for definite that I'm asexual. I have no need, no urge, no want for sex whatsoever. I do have a need, urge, and want for kissing sometimes, but not the sex, you know? And so therefore, I know for a fact I'm asexual. I'm not a person who's celibate. Celibacy is a choice. Usually people are celibate, abstain from having sex for a while because, well, someone who's abstaining from sex is usually for religious reasons, like no sex before marriage. Someone who's celibate is choosing not to have sex for usually kind of all their life, or at least for a period of time. But usually they're choosing to not have sex for their whole life, but they still get the need, urge, and want for sex. With asexuality, someone who's a pure asexual doesn't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever. They're void of it. They don't have any sexual attraction for anyone. Someone who's a grey asexual would have limited, rare, or sexual attraction, and either limited or rare, or they have it but not enough to want to act on it. That's like a grey. That's a grey asexual instead of a pure asexual, if you like. But I just like, you know, I adopt the term grey A now, but not grey asexual, even though they're usually clumped together, because I have the grey area of kissing, which is sexual behaviour, but zero sexual attraction. And I have sexual behaviour with the way I like to dance, zero sexual attraction. So I just think grey A personally should be grey areas and not mean the same as grey asexual, because I don't experience any sexual attraction, but I just feel more comfortable adding that on, you know? And so, you know, like anytime I look at any guy, I just never want sex with them. I never have done. There was occasionally I used to instigate sex with my heterosexual ex. That was more to be in control of the situation rather than because I wanted it or needed it or liked it, you know. I mean, obviously it was consensual with him all the time. So, you know, I really like that time with him because I could feel his kindness again, because he was different when he was sexual with me and having sex. He was a really kind, nice, caring person, thoughtful. He was like the opposite to the rest of the time. And so that's why I enjoyed the time with him. So I did want to do that in that moment, not because of the sex itself, but because I wanted to make him happy, and because I kind of thought it was what I needed to do in a relationship, what's expected of me. And also because, you know, like it was a nice time together. I wish we'd had times that were nice together without the sex, you know. And so, you know, that's how I knew and know that I'm asexual. So if you resonate with any of this, I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to know your opinions and views. As always, please leave them down below in a comment. Love to know what you think. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live. Right now I'll post a new video, and I will see you on the next video live stream. Thank you for watching tonight. I know there's been some people watching. Lots of love, and I'll see you soon on the next video live stream. Take care. Bye. Lots of love.